Good evening everyone, it's Mike from Morton Lights here doing my 2024 behind the scenes video. Just to start off with, it's about 6:30 on a Sunday evening, and this is for American friends. That's the sun there, so this is what I've got to deal with as far as brightness and whatever's concerned, and why some of the decisions I make to run 100% brightness in some cases happens rather than the typical 30%. You can just sort of see these pixels that are running a butterfly at the moment. This is running at 100% on a lot of props. Some of them have been turned down, but that sun will persist and it won't sort of get dark till about 8:30 at night. So few changes this year. Most of the stuff here along the front fence is all pretty much the same. The candy canes still as is, the little NSR mini trees from last year, and the arches. Not much here at all. The push to listen has moved ever so slightly just because of the way I've rearranged a few things. So that's all same as. It's all being driven from a controller that sits in the hedge. That has changed, however, and is my former Megatree controller. So whereas before I was running 24 volts out and dropping it to 5 at the props, this one's actually got 240 coming out to the front yard here, and that's him down there. The spiral trees here, which were up against the house last year, have moved into the little gaps in the hedge. We've got the Hanson DMX2 24 controller in that box, which is doing the string lights that are in each of these hedge bushes and here on the palm trees. And then there's the speakers hiding there in the under those buckets, as I've had in previous years. Still got a couple of these little power boxes. So that one's doing 12 volts for these floodlights here. There's a 24 volt feed that's running from the shed, and also going into that DMX2 24 as well. Because this controller changed, it's still an FPP. It's the Pixelbone 48 from Smart Alec Lights. I don't have any of the GPIOs and whatever exposed, so my push to listen took a slightly different route this year, around this tree here, and that's all controlled by this little guy here. He's got an ESP32 in it, as you can see, Ethernet one, and a little sideboard with a MOSFET on it. I'll do a write-up on that, but that's running a little piece of software that I wrote. I originally was looking at using a Baldric Input 1 to do it, but the one that I got's got a hardware fault, so I quickly whipped that thing up, and I'll do another video or some form of detail on that later on. The 4 spiral mini trees still stay the same. We'll come across over here. The Megatree has had a big upgrade this year, so physically it's still the same. But now it is 30 strands instead of 20, and there are 150 nodes per strand at 1-inch spacing rather than the 75 at 2-inch before. So that's basically gone from 1,500 nodes all the way up to 4,500, and the same 3-ring 36-inch Chroma Star as it's always been. Same pole and everything, and then because of that, built a new control box. That's got a pair of HP 700 watt power supplies driving all of those LEDs, and the thing will top it out when it's running at 100%. Hanson HE123 with a couple of HE123EX expansion boards to give me the 32 outputs on that. Required a bit of changing because I decided to put Ray Wu pigtails on that instead of X-Connect that I use for all the 5 volt stuff. Around the house, not much else has changed. Moved that snowflake so he used to be rotated on the angle, and likewise the one on the other side. Just squared those up a little bit more, and that's predominantly because of the big change here. So my 3 singing globes have made it up onto the roof, and now I've got the big showstopper spinner in there. That was a suggestion by one of the former members. I wanted to try with a HD prop. That one's a 3-foot prop. Most of the other ones are 4-foot, but the 3-foot fits really nicely into that alcove, and that prop has been an absolute winner this year. I really like it. Coming along here, So again, same two snowflakes. The globes got moved up. You probably noticed the panel. So that's a big P6.67 panel, 288 by 144 resolution. It's about 1.9 meters by 960 in that. So showstopper spinner here. It's controlled by a differential receiver that I've sort of screwed onto the roof there. 24 volt in, and a 250 watt 50 amp 5 volt DC to DC converter in it, and my two differential converters that I made myself, so it just takes in just the two of the 4 pairs and splits it out. These mini trees here are also running on pretty much the same setup, so it's got a 5 volt 50 amp DC to DC in there, 24 volt feed to it, and then that's got a 4-channel receiver in it, so 1 channel to each tree. Each tree being 186 nodes in total with the star on top. Coming back around to the front here, we've got still got all the strip, which is going really well, and the wreath on the front door. And hiding in the corner here, and I've got a lot more crap because the missus is getting into gardening and whatever, is the F16 V4 down there. Differential receiver, which is predominantly for power, which runs the this top horizontal outline around the house. So just continuing on after my 4-year-old interrupted me there. This last box here is a C-bus relay for my home automation. It's got 1 240 volt in and 4 outs switched. Actually, it's got a 5th out now, which is an unswitched as well. So that way I can turn each of the controllers on and off. And one output goes to the F16, one to the tune to sign, one to the driveway controller, and one to the big P6 panel. In that little grey box is a network switch, which basically takes a single lead from the shed and breaks it out into a bunch of ports here for the controllers and what have you. This is the back of the panel, so it's I'll give a separate teardown video of this one later, and how I built it. It was given to me with Novastar cards, so they got converted out to colour lights. And they've got these big actual individual tiles, so I put 6 little brackets down underneath on the house, and just ratchet strapped it to the front fence here, and it has remained pretty good. This is the controller for the panel. I put this little mimic panel on it, so that's just a little HDMI screen, and inside that is a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4, 5 volt power supply. So it's got a connection to the show network and a connection to the colour light out, and the board has conveniently got the 2 Ethernets for that, 1 gigabit to the panels and the 100 megabit back into the show network. On the side here, another new addition for the year are these modules on the fence. So I picked these ones up, I think, at the Melbourne Mini, and they're just a couple of the 3 LED modules, and I soldered them up with some bit of TPS, the spacing to go across these front 4 fence panels. I think they're about 400mm spaced, and they're controlled off this controller down here. That's a Advatec E4S, and there's a 5 volt, little 5 volt and a little 12 volt power supply in that. The 5 volt power supply does just the cane on the right hand side of the fence there, so the cable comes back here, and the 12 volt does these modules. And I actually quite like this. It is sitting in the center of the fence, the way this triangles out, but that means it does actually shine down on the far side of the fence, so when you're coming up from the street, you actually see that nice color wash, and it does some pretty nice chase patterns for 24 channels, 24 modules, so whatever that is, 72 channels. It's a pretty nifty little addition, and very happy with the way that one turned out. What else has changed for this year? Not much. The Bethlehem Star is still on the roof of the house. The solar matrix made it up again this year. That just got thrown, all those seeds got thrown in a bundle onto the floor after I unpacked. That bundle got moved under the back barbecue area and sat there for 9-10 months before I pulled it back out, and everything just worked. So there's been a bit of wear because of the sunlight on some of them. It was an interesting little test. So I'll see how they go after 2 seasons on the roof, but they may need replacing. But it'll be a really interesting write-up as to how the seeds fare in Australian weather. Tuntu sign, still the same deal. Same one, keep using it, still bolted up there. P5 panel, 3 of them, in a, what is it, 192 by 32 matrix, and it works really, really well for doing this basic stuff. And the other one was I redid my bathroom in January, and so down the side of the house here, when we pulled the spar bar out, was a spare circuit. So I got a nice outdoor power point fitted on the wall over there, which has a power cable that runs up and does all of the stuff on this side of the house, which is needed this year because of the additions like this panel. This panel will draw close to 1,000 watts when it's full white. Fun fact, this one's one of the full-blown outdoor ones, designed for direct sunlight. It's very, very bright. I think in colour light I've got it set to brightness level 1, maybe 2 out of 9, to be, somewhat on par with the rest of the LEDs. The other addition I've added just quickly was a 180 degree camera here, so I can sort of see what's going on and see the visitors to the show. Other than that, everything's still all coming back into the equipment in the shed there. You can see the bundle of cables going in the bottom there, and all of the cables coming off the roof, coming down into the top half of the shed there. So that's it. And up here mounted as a conduit, it's a little Unify access point. That guy there is used for 2 purposes. One for the DMX224 ESP32, which I've already got a video on how that works. That's its primary purpose. The second one is my Wi-Fi from inside the house doesn't work particularly well outside by design, and so if I'm standing across the street I can control my show by hooking into that wireless network, and it throws me straight on the show network. So I know I'm only supposed to do this in 1 take. I'm going to do 2 takes because I'm going to go out to the back shed now and show you what's out there. Right, so here we are in the shed. Turn the air conditioning off. The air conditioning box is right here. It traps all the heat in here really, really well. Not particularly nice, and it does get very hot in here. So I can feel some nice cold air coming out from under the house. So this is where it all sort of happens. That was an old power injection box that I'm not using this year. This is a 24 volt, 1.2 kilowatt, 50 amp power supply that basically does all of the feeds onto the roof, the wall washers. So there's, I think, 3 feeds or 4 feeds onto the roof plus the wall washer there. And it's got its own little circuit breaker panel on the top there with 5 circuits out to the things, and it's hounding its fans right now quite hard. In this particular controller here, just had the relay click, it's just turned on the transmitter and everything ready. F48 V4, so I upgraded that to the F48, or the NS version. Upgraded that this year from the HU123D. Trying to get away from the FPP based controllers over time. We've got Audio Central on this side, the control box for basically the audio equipment, and then the main control box in here. So nothing in here has really changed other than the fact that what that says on the front is wrong. Just open it up. As you can see, it's quite warm in this shed today, 37.5 degrees. So in here we've got our Raspberry Pi player doing it. The network switch had to be replaced, so this one's just sort of sitting in there. It's a bit 24 port Microtik, because the Netgear ran out of ports behind. So I'm going to redo this whole control box later on. The computer power supply that's doing all the controllers, and the C-bus here. So there's the 4 outputs here which drive the yard, the mega tree, the power injection box here, and there's a power supply, another 24 volt power supply underneath, which does the spinner and the front yard feed for the what was the thing, the DMX 224 and those floodlights. Everything here, it's all coming back to this iota watt, wherever it's gone. There it is there behind. So it's measuring the power on every single circuit. So all of those 4 switch circuits, the 4 switch circuits here, the master off this PowerPoint, plus the 4 switch circuits back in the box out the front that I showed you earlier, and the master for that side. And if it just suddenly got loud, the air conditioner just kicked in behind me. Transmitter in the corner there, it just turned on because it's getting close to 7 o'clock. Showtime's about to start. I've got my compressor this year. I've added an EQ. The EQ, as you can see, is dropping a lot of the low end out, as well as an extra low cut there, which is just on the transmission side. Was not happy with the transmission. It was getting very boomy, which was not pleasant. So that actually makes it quite palatable. Getting a lot of induced noise from the Pi, digital noise and all this sort of stuff. So that white cable's a USB extension. My sound blaster's hanging in the air through an isolation transformer and then into the rest of it, and there's a separate isolation transformer there in the middle, which is for the amplifier, because that's a rubbish J-car amp, so I'm going to redo it all. I got given this big amp, CD player, turntable combo earlier in the year. I was thinking, oh, that'd be great, and then when I had a look at it, it's got like a 1 watt amplifier in it, which is rubbish. This one's, I think, 18, so it would not work at all for what I needed to do. So that's it. Very few changes on this side, other than the EQ and the F48. It all pretty much runs as it has before. If there's any questions, pop them in the comments below. If you're watching this before the end of 2024 and you want to come and have a look at it and you're in Sydney, by all means drop me a line. I'm more than happy to take people through how my show actually all works. ACL chat, Skymaster there. Get in contact and we'll tee something up. Otherwise, thanks for watching and have a good one. See you.